He paid just $35 for this land, but the horse knew a secret that would change everything. Why did the horse refuse to leave that exact spot, even when everyone else saw nothing there? What could possibly be hidden beneath worthless land, that a human missed, but an animal sensed? And why did this discovery turn a mocked rancher into the most feared man in town overnight? The paper trembles in my hand like it's alive, like it's trying to crawl away from me before I sign my name and make the dumbest decision of my life. The sun is still up, but it's already mean. Not warm. Not golden. Mean. It presses down on the back of my neck like a hand that's been there too long. Heat ripples off the cracked ground and turns the air into something you can almost chew. Every breath tastes like pennies and dust. And dust is exactly what they say I'm buying. A half-circle of men stands around the hood of Richard Coleman's truck, leaning back like this is a show they paid for. Their laughter hits me in waves, short, sharp, cruel. The kind of laughter that doesn't even bother pretending it's a joke. "Man, you really doing this?" one of them says, squinting at the paper like it offended him personally. He smells like cigarettes and sunscreen. $35 for sand. That's what we call charity where I'm from. Another guy spits into the dirt and smirks. "Dead land. You just bought dust." The words land right on my ribs. Not because they're clever. Because they're true. I'm standing there in my faded work shirt, the collar stiff with sweat, my boots scuffed so bad the leather's cracked like the ground under us. My hands look older than the rest of me, knuckles like knots, nails dark with old grease I can't scrub out. I'm 28 and somehow I feel 90. I should be embarrassed. I should walk away. I should laugh along like it's not my last breath. But I don't have anywhere to walk back to. Because back home there's a mailbox that might as well be a mouth, always open, always hungry. Bills. Past due notices. A bright red final stamp like a slap. I can still see my mom's face the last time I left her place, trying to keep it light, trying not to show me she was scared. "I'm fine, Ethan," she'd said, squeezing my wrist like she was checking if I was real. "Just, don't do anything reckless." What she meant was, please don't break whatever's left of you. I look down at the contract again. The paper is warm from the sun. It's got Richard Coleman's logo in the corner, clean, sharp, too fancy for something that's supposed to be worthless. The ink is dark and confident. It doesn't belong in this place. Ethan Walker, I read under my breath like I'm making sure the name still fits me. My chest tightens. I can hear my own heartbeat in my ears, steady and annoyed, like it's asking what exactly I think I'm doing. I think about the bank. I think about that woman behind the desk who never raised her voice, never had to. She just slid the papers across to me and tapped one line with a polished nail. "Last extension," she'd said. "If you miss it, they'll start proceedings." Proceedings. Like losing everything is just paperwork. This isn't ambition. This isn't some cowboy dream. This is survival with a bad haircut and a worse plan. Someone laughs again. Louder. "Hey, Coleman," one of them calls out. "You sure you don't want to throw in the sky for free too?" A few more laughs. A few shakes of heads. A couple of pity looks. Those are the worst. Like I'm already a ghost. And then I notice Richard. He's leaning against the driver's side door, one hand tucked casually into his pocket. His shirt is crisp. His hair is neat. He looks like he came out here to take a meeting, not sell a patch of nothing. His sunglasses hide his eyes, but there's something in the angle of his jaw that feels patient. Like he's not entertained. Like he's waiting for a clock to hit the right second. He doesn't laugh with them. He doesn't need to. I clear my throat. It comes out rough, like sandpaper. "So that's it," I say, more to myself than anyone. $35 and it's mine. Richard pushes off the truck and steps closer, slow and smooth. "It's yours," he says. His voice is calm, almost pleasant. Like he's delivering good news. He offers me the pen. It's heavy. Expensive. Black with a silver clip. The kind of pen you sign mortgages with. The kind of pen you sign a life away with. My fingers close around it. The metal is hot. One of the men snorts. "Man, you gotta be kidding." I don't look up. If I do, I'll see their faces, and I'll start believing them. I already believe them. I just can't afford to. "Dust is still something when you have nothing," I say, and my own voice surprises me. It comes out low, like I'm talking to my bones. A beat of silence, just enough to make the words hang there and embarrass me. Then someone laughs again, like I just said the dumbest thing they've ever heard. Richard doesn't react. He tilts his head slightly, watching my hand hover over the signature line. If he's thinking anything, he doesn't show it. And that's when a cold little thought slips in, sharp as a needle. If this land is truly worthless, why is he still standing here like he cares? I feel my stomach drop, just a little. Not fear exactly. Something closer to alarm. Like when you hear a sound at night that doesn't belong to your house. I glance up. Richard's sunglasses reflect the bright sky. For a second, I see myself in them, a thin man, sunburned, desperate. A man about to sign. Richard's mouth curves into something that could almost be a smile. Go ahead, he says softly. You're doing the right thing. The way he says it makes my skin prickle. Like he's comforting a child before a shot. I swallow. The men around us keep watching. Waiting. Hungry for the moment I prove them right. My pen touches the paper. And right as I start the first stroke of my name, the wind shifts, just enough to carry a sound from the open desert behind me. A low, strained whinny. Not far. Not from the group. From somewhere out there, beyond the cracked line of ground, where nothing is supposed to be. My hand freezes. The men don't seem to hear it. They're too busy grinning, too busy thinking this is already over. But I hear it. And in that split second, with the ink barely started on the page, I realize something with absolute clarity. This isn't just a bad deal. This is a moment someone planned. And if I sign, I'm not just buying dust. I'm stepping into something that's been waiting for me. The laughter doesn't stop when the sun goes down. It follows me. I'm lying on my back inside the tent, staring at the dark canvas just inches from my face, listening to the wind slap it like it's mad at me personally. The desert cools fast, too fast. 1 minute the heat is sitting on your chest, the next it's gone, leaving this hollow chill that crawls under your clothes and settles in your bones. I close my eyes. And there it is again. That laugh. Sharp. Casual. Certain. I hear the way it cracked when one of them said dust. Hear how another guy laughed like he already knew how my story ended. Like he'd seen this version of me before and knew exactly where it was going. My jaw tightens. I press my tongue to the roof of my mouth, trying to swallow it down. It's just another bad choice, I tell myself, out loud, because the silence feels worse. My voice sounds strange in here, thin, like it doesn't belong to me anymore. You've made plenty. The tent creaks. The stakes shift slightly in the sand. Somewhere outside, thunder snorts. I sit up fast. Easy, I say, pushing the flap open. Cold air rushes in, dry and clean and sharp. The stars are everywhere, brutal in their clarity. No city glow. No mercy. Thunder stands a few yards away, head low, ears angled back. The water bucket sits right in front of him, untouched. He hasn't taken a single step closer since we stopped. That's fresh, I say. I filled it myself. He doesn't move. I step out barefoot, the ground colder than I expect. The sand crunches faintly under my weight. Thunder shifts sideways, tugging the rope, muscles tight under his skin like coiled wire. His eyes catch the starlight and throw it back at me, wide and alert. Something twists in my chest. What is it? I ask, trying to keep my tone steady. You spooked by the dark now? He takes 2 slow steps away from the bucket. Then another. Always the same direction. Thunder. I grab the rope, give it a gentle pull. He resists immediately, digging his hooves in. The tension snaps tight between us, humming. That's when I notice it. The ground. Not the whole place. Just one patch, harder, smoother, almost polished compared to the rest. Thunder keeps glancing at it, nostrils flaring, like he's reading something written there that I can't see. You're dehydrated, I mutter. That's all this is. But I don't believe it. I've known this horse too long. He's stubborn, sure. Moody sometimes. But this? This is different. This is focus. Purpose. He paws at the dirt once. Stops. Paws again, harder. Hey! I step closer. Cut it out. Thunder ignores me. He paws again, faster now, breathing heavy. Sand sprays forward, peppering my legs. The sound is wrong out here, too loud, too urgent, like it's tearing at the night itself. Thunder. I snap, louder than I mean to. He freezes. For half a second, everything goes still. No wind. No movement. Just me, the horse, and the open desert holding its breath. Then Thunder lowers his head and snorts, long and strained, and goes right back to pawing the same spot. My stomach tightens. I look around, suddenly aware of how alone we are. The tent behind me. The truck miles away. No cell signal. No neighbors. Just land everyone laughed at and the sound of my horse digging into it like his life depends on it. A stupid thought creeps in, uninvited. What if he's right? I shake my head hard. No, I say. You're tired. I'm tired. That's it. I pull the rope again, firmer this time. Thunder resists, muscles rippling, refusing to budge. For a second, I consider forcing him, consider winning just to prove I still can. Then he lets out a low sound I've never heard from him before. Not fear. Warning. My grip loosens without me deciding to let go. Thunder stops digging and just stands there, staring at the ground, breathing slow and heavy, like he's guarding something. The laughter comes back then. Louder. Closer. Like it found me. I step back, my skin prickling, and suddenly the desert doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels like it's watching. I turn toward the tent, heart thudding, telling myself I need sleep, that I'm letting the day get to me. Tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow I'll think clearly. But as I crawl back inside and zip the flap shut, I realize Thunder hasn't followed. He stays right where he is. Standing over that patch of ground. Waiting. And the question I can't shake, no matter how hard I try, presses into my chest until breathing hurts. What does a horse know, that a man desperate enough to bite us doesn't? Thunder won't stop moving. He circles the same patch of ground like it's pulling him in with a rope I can't see. One slow lap. Then another. His hooves crunch against sand that's too hard for this place, packed down like it's been pressed flat by something heavier than wind. The moon hangs high and cold, bleaching the desert into shades of bone and silver. The air smells dry, almost metallic, and every breath scrapes my throat. Enough, I say, tugging the lead. Thunder ignores me. He lowers his head and paws at the dirt again. The sound snaps through the night, sharp, deliberate. Sand sprays forward, peppering my jeans. He pauses, muscles shaking, then digs again, deeper, faster, like he's racing something I can't see. Hey! I snap, stepping closer. There's nothing here. The words come out louder than I intend, and they echo back at me, small and embarrassed. I feel stupid the second I say them, like the ground itself heard me and decided not to answer. Thunder swings around, eyes wide, nostrils flared. He snorts and moves back to the same spot, blocking it with his body. The rope pulls tight in my hand. You're chasing ghosts, I say, more to steady myself than him. You hear me? There's nothing. But my heart doesn't believe it. I yank the rope harder. Thunder resists, hooves digging in, neck muscles standing out like cables. He's stronger than me and he knows it. The pressure vibrates through my arm, straight into my chest. Damn it, Thunder. My voice cracks. I can't do this tonight. The desert answers with silence. No insects. No distant engines. Just wind sliding across the ground, leaving faint lines in the sand that look like fingerprints. I glance around, suddenly aware of how exposed I am. How far I am from anyone who would hear me if something went wrong. Thunder paws again. The sound is wrong. Too sharp. Like metal tapping stone. I freeze. Wait, I say quietly, without meaning to. Hold on. I step closer and crouch, pressing my palm to the ground. It's colder here. Firmer. Not like the loose sand everywhere else. My skin prickles. Thunder lowers his head beside me, breathing hard, warm air blasting against my neck. He nudges the ground with his nose, insistent, urgent. My thoughts start racing, tripping over each other. Water? Old piping? A buried tank? My mind reaches for normal explanations, anything that doesn't make my pulse spike. Then the ground shifts. Not much. Just enough for me to feel it under my hand. A faint give, like something hollow answering back. I jerk my hand away. My stomach drops so fast it makes me dizzy. No, I mutter. No, no. Thunder stamps once, sharp and final, like punctuation. I stand up too quickly and sway, the night tilting around me. Sweat breaks out along my spine despite the cold. I take a step back, then another, the rope slackening in my grip. This is ridiculous, I tell myself. I'm tired. I'm broke. I'm letting the desert get inside my head. But Thunder doesn't move. He plants himself over that spot like a guard, eyes locked on me, daring me to decide what kind of man I'm going to be. I think about the laughter. About Richard's calm smile. About how fast he showed up this morning. My chest tightens. What if I don't want to know? I ask the empty night. Thunder snorts, sharp and impatient, and paws again, harder this time. The sound echoes, and for a split second, it feels like something beneath the ground answers back. I stare at the spot, my pulse thudding in my ears, and a new question presses in, heavier than fear. If this land is truly worthless, why does it feel like it's daring me to look closer? The engine wakes me before the sun does. I'm halfway out of a shallow sleep, that place where your body rests but your mind keeps chewing on yesterday's mistakes, when the sound cuts through the desert like a blade. Smooth. Confident. Not the rattle of an old truck or the cough of a dying engine. This one purrs. My eyes snap open. For a second, I don't move. I just listen. The sound gets closer, tires crunching over sand and stone, too steady for this early, too deliberate for a place nobody's supposed to visit twice. My chest tightens. Thunder snorts outside the tent, sharp and irritated. I shove the flap open and the morning hits me full force. The sun is already climbing, fast and unforgiving, turning the desert pale and flat, like it's trying to erase last night. Dust hangs in the air, glowing. My mouth tastes dry. My shirt sticks to my back. And there it is. A black SUV, clean as a showroom floor, rolling to a stop not 50 yards away. I don't need to see the driver to know who it is. Richard Coleman steps out like this is just another Tuesday meeting. Dark sunglasses. Crisp shirt. Not a grain of dust on him. He shuts the door gently, like noise matters out here. I feel something cold slide into my gut. You've got to be kidding me, I mutter. Thunder shifts closer to me, ears pinned back. He watches Richard the way he watched the ground last night, alert, suspicious, ready. Richard lifts a hand in a casual wave. Morning, Ethan. Too friendly. Too early. What are you doing here? I ask, not bothering to hide it. He smiles. The same controlled curve of his mouth from yesterday. Couldn't sleep, he says lightly. Figured I'd check in. Check in. I laugh once, sharp and humorless. You drive all the way out here at sunrise to check in on a guy who bought land you called useless? He ignores the jab and looks around, slow and deliberate, like he's appraising the place all over again. His gaze lingers a beat too long on the exact area Thunder won't leave. My pulse jumps. This heat sneaks up on people, Richard says. Especially folks not used to it. I grew up 3 hours from here, I reply. Try again. He chuckles softly, like I've said something charming. Then he slips his hands into his pockets and turns back to me. I can make this easier for you. There it is. The words land heavier than yesterday, weighted by the timing, by the fact that he's standing on my land before most people have poured their first cup of coffee. I don't need easy, I say. I need time. Richard tilts his head. Time is expensive. So is gas, I shoot back. Yet here you are. Something flickers across his face. Gone fast. Too fast. Irritation, maybe. Or urgency. He takes a step closer. Not threatening. Not quite friendly either. Just close enough that I can smell his cologne, sharp and out of place against dust and sweat. I'll be straight with you, he says. I'll give you more than you paid. Cash. Today. Thunder stamps once. Hard. My jaw tightens. You already did, I say. When you sold it. Richard's smile stiffens. This land will ruin you. I think of the ground shifting under my hand. Of Thunder refusing to leave that spot. Of the way Richard's eyes keep drifting back there, no matter how hard he tries to seem casual. It already tried, I reply. The desert goes quiet between us. No wind. No engine noise. Just two men standing in the open, measuring each other. Richard exhales slowly. You don't understand what you're dealing with. That makes two of us, I say. For the first time, he takes off his sunglasses. His eyes are sharp, alert, and worried. Not for me. For what's under my feet. He puts the glasses back on just as fast, like he didn't mean for me to see that. Think about my offer, he says. You won't get another. He turns toward his SUV. As he walks away, a question pounds in my head, louder than the engine when it starts up again. If this land means nothing, why does he look like he's running out of time? The SUV pulls away, dust curling behind it like a warning. Thunder lets out a low sound, deep in his chest. I don't look at him. I look at the ground. And for the first time since I signed that paper, I don't feel like the fool everyone laughed at. I feel like the man standing in the wrong place, holding the right thing. The air inside Richard's SUV hits me like a different world. Cold. Artificial. Clean. The door shuts with a soft, expensive thud, sealing the desert outside as if it were something shameful. The engine hums quietly, steady and controlled, and the vents breathe chilled air onto my face. My skin prickles from the sudden change, sweat cooling too fast. Richard doesn't turn on the radio. Silence fills the cabin, thick and intentional. He grips the steering wheel for a moment without driving anywhere, staring straight ahead as if the windshield is showing him something I can't see. His jaw tightens, just slightly. That calm he wears so well is starting to crack at the edges. You look exhausted, he says finally, tone smooth, practiced. This place does that to people. I glance at the dashboard, spotless, digital, glowing softly. A vehicle built for highways and meetings, not dead-end dirt roads. I didn't ask for a ride, I say. No, he replies. You didn't. But you need one. That lands wrong. He reaches into the console and pulls out a folded envelope. Thick. He places it between us, right where my eyes can't avoid it. Cash, he says. More than yesterday. A lot more. My throat tightens. My brain does the math before I can stop it. Rent, debt, my mom's prescriptions, the overdue notices stacked like threats. Every problem I've been carrying suddenly feels lighter just looking at that envelope. Richard notices. He always notices. This land will ruin you, he says, quieter now, like advice instead of warning. You're already stretched thin. You don't need another mistake. I laugh under my breath. Funny. You didn't seem worried about that yesterday. His fingers drum once on the wheel. Tap. Stop. I didn't expect you to stay, he admits. There it is. Something in his voice sharpens, impatience slipping through the cracks. He turns to face me fully now, sunglasses off, eyes fixed on mine. There's pressure in that look, controlled, heavy, like a hand on my chest. You take this money, he continues, and you walk away clean. No stress. No surprises. You get your life back. Life back. The words hit harder than they should. Because my life doesn't feel like something I ever really had. It feels borrowed. Temporary. One bad decision away from collapse. Thunder's warning snort echoes in my memory. The ground shifting. Richard's early arrival. His eyes flicking to the same spot again and again. My fingers twitch. How do I know this isn't another trap? I ask. Richard smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. Because I'm sitting here, making you an offer instead of letting you fail on your own. The kindness feels rehearsed. The silence stretches. The air conditioner hums. Outside, the desert waits, patient and unforgiving. I picture myself taking the envelope. Driving away. Telling myself I was smart this time. Telling myself I survived. But another image cuts in, standing alone again, years from now, wondering what I walked away from because I was scared. Richard leans closer. Not touching me. Not threatening. Just close enough that his voice drops. You don't want to be the guy who gambled on dirt and lost everything. I meet his gaze. Hold it. It already tried, I say. For a moment, something ugly flashes across his face. Anger. Fear. Both, tangled together. His jaw clenches. You're making this harder than it needs to be. And you're trying way too hard, I reply. That's when I understand it fully. This isn't help. This is urgency wearing a friendly face. Richard exhales sharply and looks away, staring out at the desert like it personally offended him. The envelope stays between us, untouched, heavy with possibility. Think carefully, he says, voice tight. People like you don't get many chances. People like me. I open the door. Heat floods back in instantly, raw and real. The desert doesn't pretend to care about me, and somehow, I trust that more. As I step out, Richard speaks one last time, not looking at me. Once you say no, he warns, there's no going back. I pause, one foot on the ground, heart pounding. That's the point, I say. The door shuts. And as I walk away from the cold comfort of that car, I realize the doubt isn't about the land anymore. It's about whether I'm brave enough to keep what scares him this much. The sun is straight overhead now, and it feels personal. It presses down on my shoulders like it's trying to force me into the ground, daring me to quit first. The air shimmers, bending the distance, turning the desert into a moving illusion. Sweat runs into my eyes, stings, blurs everything. My tongue feels thick, useless. Even breathing takes effort. Thunder stands a few feet away, sides heaving, dark patches of sweat soaking into his coat. He hasn't moved far from that spot since morning. Not to graze. Not to rest. Just watching the ground like it might answer him if he waits long enough. I wipe my face with my sleeve and laugh, dry, brittle. Maybe you're right, I say to him. Maybe I've finally lost it. The words hang there, swallowed by heat. I pace in a tight circle, boots crunching on rock and sand. Every step feels heavier than the last. The desert has a way of shrinking your thoughts until all you can hear is your own doubt, replaying itself on a loop. I've been here before. Not this place, but this feeling. The gut-deep certainty that I'm about to be wrong again. Wrong like when I trusted my old partner with the books and pretended not to see the numbers didn't add up. Wrong like when I took that job 2 states over, convinced it would fix everything, only to come back broke and ashamed. Wrong like every time I told myself, this one's different, and watched it fall apart anyway. My chest tightens. What if I'm just desperate? I say out loud. Thunder flicks an ear but doesn't look at me. Desperation makes patterns out of nothing. Turns coincidences into signs. Makes a man dig holes in dead land because his horse won't walk away. I crouch, pick up a handful of sand, let it slide through my fingers. It's coarse. Dry. Normal. Exactly what everyone said it was. Richard's voice creeps back into my head, smooth and certain. People like you don't get many chances. People like me. I stand and look around, turning slowly, scanning the endless stretch of nothing. No buildings. No movement. No witnesses. Just heat and silence and the sound of my own heart. For the first time since I got here, the thought hits hard and sharp. I could walk away. No one would stop me. I could load up, take whatever scraps of pride I have left, and disappear back into the version of my life where I don't ask hard questions. Where I don't risk looking stupid again. My knees feel weak just thinking about it. Thunder suddenly stamps the ground, snapping me out of it. He tosses his head, lets out a low, frustrated sound, and paws once, hard. I flinch. All right, I snap, anger bubbling up. All right, what do you want from me? The heat makes everything louder inside my head. The doubt. The fear. The old failures lining up like evidence in a trial I already lost. I take a step toward him, then stop. Because standing this close, I feel it again. That faint difference under my boots. That subtle wrongness. Like the ground here doesn't belong to the rest of the desert. My pulse picks up. I hate it. I hate that a part of me still wants to believe. Hates that hope keeps slipping back in through cracks I thought I sealed shut years ago. This is how it starts, I mutter. This is how you end up chasing things that aren't real. Thunder turns his head and looks at me then, really looks at me. His eyes are dark, steady, unblinking. There's no panic in them. No confusion. Just patience. Like he's willing to stand here all day if that's what it takes. The wind kicks up suddenly, hot and dry, pushing against my back like a shove. I stumble a half step forward, closer to that patch of ground, heart hammering. I swallow hard. If I dig and there's nothing, I don't just lose time. I lose the last excuse I have for believing I'm more than my past mistakes. I back away slowly, hands shaking, torn between relief and regret. Thunder paws again. Louder. Deeper. And the question I don't want to answer settles heavy in my chest, refusing to leave. How many times can a man be wrong, before he's too afraid to be right? The tent is already torn apart when I realize something is wrong. Not ripped. Not broken into the way you see in movies. Just wrong. Too open. Too quiet. The flap hangs loose, one zipper tooth missing like a pulled nail. The canvas slumps inward as if someone leaned inside and didn't bother to put it back the way they found it. My stomach tightens before I even step closer. I duck inside and the sight hits me all at once. Papers everywhere. The contract copy I folded so carefully yesterday is gone. The folded maps are unfolded now, spread across the ground like they were studied. My notebook, creased, personal, full of numbers and half-written thoughts, is missing. The envelope with my IDs isn't where I left it. I stand there, heat pounding against my skull, listening to my own breathing get louder. No, I whisper. I drop to my knees and start grabbing things, flipping pages, shaking out bags like the answer might fall out if I'm rough enough. Dust coats my hands. Sweat drips onto the sand, dark spots blooming and disappearing almost instantly. This isn't how someone steals. Nothing valuable is gone. No food. No tools. No money. Just information. I freeze. The thought crawls up my spine slow and deliberate. Someone wanted to know what I knew. I step back outside, heart hammering. The desert feels different now. Smaller. Closer. The silence isn't empty anymore, it's watchful. Thunder stands rigid a short distance away, head lifted, ears locked in one direction. He's not looking at me. He's looking past me. I follow his gaze. At first, I don't see anything. Just heat waves bending the distance. Then I notice the ground, disturbed. A line where the sand doesn't sit right. Footprints, shallow but deliberate, moving away from the tent toward the open desert. Not running. Walking. Whoever did this wasn't in a hurry. My throat goes dry. This wasn't neglect, I say aloud, the words steady even though my hands aren't. This was intention. The sound of my voice feels dangerous now, like it might carry farther than it should. I lower it instinctively and scan the horizon, squinting into the glare. There's nothing out there. No vehicles. No movement. Just the feeling. the unmistakable feeling of being counted. I crouch near the prints, careful not to step on them, my pulse loud in my ears. They're recent. Sharp edges. The sand hasn't had time to soften them yet. Whoever it was knew exactly when to come, early enough that I'd still be distracted, late enough that I'd be alone. A memory snaps into place. Richard's eyes, flicking to the ground. His words. Once you say no, there's no going back. I straighten slowly. You don't scare me, I mutter, not sure who I'm talking to. You should. Thunder lets out a low warning sound behind me. I turn just as a gust of wind sweeps across the desert, blurring the footprints, erasing pieces of them right in front of my eyes. Within seconds, they're half gone, like they were never meant to last. My chest tightens. That's when it hits me fully. They don't need to take anything else. They already know where I am. I stand there longer than I should, the sun burning down, my instincts screaming in opposite directions: run, hide, confront, dig. Every choice feels like a door I can't close once it opens. Thunder steps closer, pressing his shoulder against my leg, grounding me. I look back at the tent. At the empty space where my papers should be. Whatever this land is hiding, it's no longer just about money or mistakes or pride. Someone is actively making sure I don't get the whole picture. And the most terrifying part isn't that they came without permission. It's that they came quietly. Like they expected me to be exactly where I am. Watching the ground. Wondering how much longer I'll be allowed to stay. The first thing I notice is how red the sky has turned. Not the soft kind of sunset you see in postcards. This red feels heavy, thick, like the day is bleeding out slowly. The sun hangs low, swollen and angry, throwing long shadows across the ground that stretch and twist until nothing looks familiar anymore. I hear footsteps behind me. Slow. Deliberate. No attempt to hide. I don't turn right away. I don't have to. I already know who it is. You're trespassing, I say, my voice steady in a way I don't feel. Richard stops a few feet back. Close enough that I can sense him there, like pressure in the air before a storm. This is still my problem, he replies. Whether you like it or not. I turn then. He doesn't look like the man from the SUV anymore. No polished calm. No friendly edges. His sleeves are rolled up, collar open, face flushed, not from the heat, but from something tighter, sharper. Control slipping. You had no right going through my things, I say. His jaw tightens. You had no right buying that land. There it is. The words land hard, honest in a way nothing else he said has been. The desert wind picks up, dragging red dust across our boots, rattling dry weeds between us. You don't understand what you're standing on, Richard says, stepping closer now. Too close. His voice is lower, stripped of politeness. That ground doesn't belong to people like you. People like you. The phrase hits a nerve I didn't know was still exposed. I let out a short laugh. Funny. You keep saying that. But you're the one who keeps showing up. His eyes flick, just for a second, to the patch of ground thunder guards like a sentry. Then back to me. Walk away, he says. Right now. Take the money. Forget you ever saw this place. And if I don't? Silence stretches between us. The sun sinks lower. Shadows climb his face, hollowing his eyes. Richard's mouth tightens. Then things get complicated. There's no mistaking it now. No room left for interpretation. The help is gone. The smile is gone. What's left is a man who thought he could manage this quietly, and is running out of options. Is that a threat? I ask. He exhales through his nose, sharp. It's reality. I feel my pulse pounding in my throat, but I don't step back. I think of my tent torn open. Of the footprints fading into nothing. Of how carefully someone tried to erase themselves. You sold me worthless land, I say. That's what you told everyone. Richard snaps. The sound is sudden, violent. Because that's what it was supposed to be. The words echo, naked and exposed, hanging in the red air between us. He realizes what he said too late. I stare at him. Supposed to be. His shoulders rise and fall. For a moment, he looks almost desperate, like a man watching a door close that he never planned to walk through himself. Then why are you afraid of it? I ask quietly. That does it. His composure collapses completely. You don't know who you're messing with, he spits. You don't know what kind of people have money tied up in this. So it's not about me, I say. It never was. The wind howls suddenly, ripping through us, carrying dust and heat and something electric. Thunder snorts loudly behind me, a warning that feels louder than words. Richard takes a step back. Just one. Last chance, he says. After today, I won't be able to protect you from the consequences. Protect me. I shake my head slowly. You never were. For a long second, we just stand there, two men on opposite sides of something neither of us fully controls. Then Richard turns away, fists clenched, walking back toward his vehicle like the desert itself betrayed him. Before he reaches it, he stops. Without turning around, he says, some ground should stay buried. I watch him drive off, dust swallowing the road behind him, until the desert closes in again like nothing ever happened. But everything has changed. The sun finally dips below the horizon, and in the sudden quiet, one truth settles deep in my chest. Whatever is under that land isn't just valuable. It's dangerous enough to make powerful men forget how to pretend. And I'm standing right on top of it. The desert goes quiet in a way that feels deliberate. Not peaceful. Not calm. Watchful. The sky is packed with stars, sharp and endless, like they're too close tonight. No moon. Just darkness stretching in every direction, broken only by the faint outline of my tent and Thunder's shadow standing guard beside me. The air is cooler now, but my skin still burns from the day, from the confrontation, from everything I didn't say out loud. I sit on the ground with my knees pulled in, elbows resting on them, hands clasped so tight my fingers ache. My head is loud. Too loud. Richard's voice keeps looping, stripped of polish, full of threat. Some ground should stay buried. I stare at the place Thunder won't leave. Even in the dark, I know exactly where it is. My body learned it before my mind did. I think about the envelope. The money. How easy it would be to pack up right now. Drive until the desert disappears in the rearview mirror. Tell myself I chose survival over pride. That's what I've always done. Every time things got heavy, I left. Every time fear whispered this will end badly, I listened. I swallow hard. Thunder shifts beside me, his shoulder brushing mine. Solid. Warm. Real. His presence pulls me out of my head for a second. He exhales slowly, like he's not in a hurry. Like time isn't chasing him. Don't you ever get tired? I murmur. He flicks an ear. That's it. I laugh under my breath. Yeah. Me neither. The night smells like dry earth and dust and something metallic I can't name. Somewhere far off, wind slides over rock, low and steady. No engines. No footsteps. No voices telling me what kind of man I am. Just me. Just this choice. My chest tightens as memories press in, standing in doorways I never walked through, opportunities one told myself weren't for people like me, apologies I never asked for because leaving felt easier than staying and failing again. Fear has always dressed itself up as logic. I stand slowly, legs stiff, heart pounding harder with each step toward that patch of ground. Thunder follows without hesitation, stopping when I stop. Guarding without being asked. I don't dig. Not yet. I just stand there, stars overhead, darkness all around, and let the weight of the moment settle fully into my bones. If I leave, I say quietly, I'll never know. The words scare me more than anything Richard said. Because they're true. I look down at my hands, scarred, shaking slightly, still capable of holding on. I think about how close I came to folding. How easy it would be to call it smart and walk away clean. But something inside me has shifted. Not confidence. Not certainty. Resolve. I've walked away my whole life, I say, voice steady now, louder than the wind. Not this time. The words don't echo. They sink. Thunder lets out a low sound, almost approving, and lowers his head back toward the ground. Waiting. Patient. Certain in a way I've never been. I don't know what's buried here. I don't know how bad this could get. I don't know who else might show up once they realize I'm not leaving. But for the first time, the fear doesn't tell me to run. It tells me to stand still. I sit back down near the spot, close enough to feel its cold through the soles of my boots, close enough to commit without crossing the final line. The night stretches on, stars wheeling slowly overhead, time moving whether I'm ready or not. And as the silence wraps around me, one thought settles in, heavy and irreversible. Whatever happens next. It happens because I stayed. The shovel bites into the ground harder than I expect. The impact rattles up my arms, all the way into my shoulders, sending a dull ache through bones that are already tired. Sand explodes outward in a dry hiss, grains clinging to my skin, sticking to the sweat pouring down my face. The heat hasn't eased, even this late. It wraps around me like a punishment that won't let go. Thunder stands just behind me, close enough that I can feel his breath on my back every time I pause. He doesn't move. He doesn't flinch. He watches the blade disappear into the earth again and again, like this is what he's been waiting for all along. I dig. Each scoop pulls up sand that looks like every other inch of this desert. Dry. Lifeless. Mocking. My hands blister fast, skin splitting where I grip the handle too tight. I don't slow down. I can't. If I stop, the doubt will catch up to me. My chest burns. My legs shake. The sun beats down, relentless, like it's daring me to quit now that I've crossed the line. All right, I mutter through clenched teeth. You win. Another strike. Another cloud of dust. Every swing drags something up with it, memories, regrets, every time I walked away because fear told me I wasn't built to see things through. Every voice that ever said this is as far as you go. The hole gets deeper. The sand changes slightly. Less loose. More stubborn. The sound of the shovel shifts, no longer a soft scrape, but a sharper resistance. I freeze. My pulse spikes. I hit it again. The blade vibrates. Not stone. Not metal. Something solid, buried on purpose. Thunder lets out a low sound, deep and steady, like a warning and a promise wrapped into one. I drop to my knees and start digging with my hands, fingers clawing through the dirt, nails breaking, skin tearing. I don't care. My breathing turns ragged, desperate. What did you do to this place? I whisper, not sure who I'm asking. The desert doesn't answer. But the ground does. The sand collapses inward slightly, revealing a darker layer beneath, cooler, denser, wrong compared to everything around it. My hand brushes against something smooth. Flat. I pull back instinctively, heart slamming against my ribs so hard it hurts. Fear floods in, sharp and overwhelming. Not the fear of failure. Not the fear of being wrong. The fear of being right. If this breaks me, I say quietly, my voice barely holding together, so be it. I dig again. More sand falls away. The shape beneath becomes clearer. Straight edges. Corners. Something that doesn't belong in untouched desert. Thunder stamps once, hard, like punctuation. I sit back on my heels, chest heaving, staring at what's slowly emerging. My hands are shaking now, not from exhaustion, but from the weight of the moment pressing down on me. This isn't imagination. This isn't desperation talking. This was hidden. On purpose. I think of Richard's anger. His urgency. His fear slipping through the cracks when he thought he'd lost control. I think of the missing papers, the quiet footprints, the way people showed up too soon and asked too many questions. The hole stares back at me like an open mouth. I wipe sweat and blood from my palms onto my jeans and lean forward again, closer this time, close enough to commit fully. Whatever's buried here wanted to stay buried. And I just made the decision that changes everything. As my fingers dig deeper into the cool darkness beneath the sand, one thought pulses louder than my heartbeat. Some fears don't exist to stop you. They exist to warn you that you're standing exactly where you're not supposed to be. My hands are shaking when the sand finally gives up its secret. Not all at once. The desert doesn't work that way. It reveals things slowly, reluctantly, like it's making sure I understand the cost before letting me see the truth. I brush away another layer, heart pounding so loud it drowns out everything else. The air feels heavier down here, cooler, carrying a smell that doesn't belong to open land. Old. Sealed. Preserved. Then I see it. Straight edges. Man-made. Clean in a way nothing in this place should be. For a second, my brain refuses to label it. I just stare, frozen, kneeling in the dirt with bloodied fingers hovering inches away, afraid that touching it will make it real. I swallow hard and clear more sand. A metal hatch. Flat. Reinforced. Bolted down decades ago and forgotten by everyone who didn't know exactly where to look. My chest tightens until it hurts. No, I breathe. No way. Thunder shifts behind me, stamping once, impatient now. Like this is what he's been guarding all along. I press my palm against the surface. Cold. Solid. Hidden. A rush of memories crashes together, Richard's anger, his urgency, the way his voice broke when control slipped. The missing documents. The quiet footsteps that erased themselves. The way this land was laughed at, and sold too easily. It clicks. Not like a movie revelation. Not dramatic. More like a punch to the ribs that knocks the air out of you. This land wasn't worthless. It was inconvenient. I dig around the edges, uncovering more of the structure. Faded markings emerge, barely visible beneath years of dirt and neglect. Old industrial stencils. Government issue. Warnings meant for people who already knew what they were looking at. This wasn't buried to be forgotten. It was buried to stay quiet. I sit back on my heels, breathing hard, staring at the proof glowing faintly in the harsh sunlight. My whole body feels hollowed out, like something fundamental just shifted inside me. You didn't sell worthless land, I say aloud, my voice breaking despite my effort to keep it steady. You sold silence. The words don't echo. They sink straight into the ground. I picture the deal now, not the one I signed, but the one before it. Papers shuffled. Corners cut. A location marked, then erased from conversation. A problem buried deep enough that no one would ask questions, until someone desperate enough bought it by accident. Me. A laugh crawls out of my chest, sharp and disbelieving. Unbelievable. Thunder snorts softly, like he already knew. I lean forward again, tracing the outline with my fingers. There's weight to this thing, not just physical. Legal. Moral. Dangerous. This isn't just something valuable. It's something someone didn't want connected back to them. And suddenly, I understand why the pressure came so fast. Why the help felt rehearsed. Why the threat slipped out when politeness failed. This wasn't about buying land back. It was about making sure I never dug this far. The desert stretches out around me, endless and quiet, pretending it's always been empty. But now I can see it differently, not as nothing, but as a place that swallowed secrets whole and waited patiently for the wrong man to stumble into the right spot. My hands curl into fists. I don't know what comes next. I don't know who else is tied to this, or how deep the lie goes. All I know is that walking away now would mean burying it again, and burying myself with it. Thunder steps closer, his shadow falling across the exposed metal, steady and unmoving. I look down at what's been hiding here all this time and feel something settle in my chest that isn't fear anymore. It's clarity. The desert didn't hide this by accident. And neither did the people who sold it to me. The only question left is whether I'm brave enough to decide what happens now. Or if I'll let the silence win one more time. Dawn doesn't arrive out here like it does in town. There's no soft morning noise. No neighbors starting cars. No distant sirens. No coffee shop smell drifting through a cracked window. Out here, the light just shows up, quiet and unavoidable, spilling over the desert like it's been waiting to see what I do. I haven't slept. Not really. I sat beside that open hole until the stars faded, watching the metal hatch catch the faintest glow, watching thunder stand like a living fence between me and whatever comes next. My hands are wrapped in a torn strip of shirt, dried blood dark against the fabric. My body hurts in that deep, honest way that tells you something inside you changed, not just your circumstances. Now the sun crawls up, turning the sand pale gold, and everything looks the same as the day I got here. The same cracked earth. The same wind. The same endless stretch of nothing. But the nothing has a heartbeat now. Thunder shifts beside me, snorts once, and lowers his head toward the ground, as if checking that the secret is still there. He looks calmer than I feel. Like the hard part wasn't digging, it was getting me to stop running. I stare at the horizon and try to picture my life before this. The small apartment. The stack of bills on the counter. The buzzing anxiety every time my phone lit up with an unknown number. The voice in my head that kept saying, "You're one mistake away from losing everything." Then I realize something that makes my chest tighten. I was already losing everything. Slowly. Quietly. By giving up before the fight even started. The desert air smells clean in the morning, almost sharp. It fills my lungs and burns a little. I blink against the light and let it hit me fully. How close I came to taking Richard's cash and pretending this was just another chapter in the same old story. A man desperate. A man embarrassed. A man grateful for crumbs. Thunder steps closer, his shoulder touching my arm. Grounding me. Reminding me I'm still here, still breathing, still capable of deciding. Some places test who you are, I say, voice rough from dust and lack of sleep, before they give you anything back. The words don't feel like wisdom. They feel like a confession. Because the thing under this ground, whatever it is, whatever it proves, doesn't just have value. It has weight. It could pay every debt I've got. It could save my mom from worrying about medication costs. It could buy comfort and calm and a version of my life where my hands don't shake from stress. But it could also bring people back. Worse people. People who don't bother with polite threats. People who know how to make problems disappear the way my papers disappeared. I glance at the open hole. The metal hatch sits there, half revealed, catching sunlight like it's daring me to finish what I started. And then a different kind of fear creeps in, the kind that doesn't come from danger, but from choice. If I open it, I change everything. If I cover it back up, I become the kind of man who lets silence win because it's easier. Thunder's ears flick suddenly. He lifts his head and stares toward the far distance. I follow his gaze. At first, it's just shimmer and light. Then, movement. A faint dust trail, low on the horizon, like something is coming this way, slow, but intentional. My pulse jumps. I stand, wiping my palms on my jeans, feeling the sting of torn skin. The morning breeze slides across my face like a warning. Thunder steps in front of the hole without being told. Protecting it. Protecting me. I don't know if it's Richard. I don't know if it's someone else. I don't know if help is even possible out here, or if I'm already too deep. All I know is this. Yesterday, I was the man everyone laughed at for buying dust. Today, I'm the man standing over a truth someone paid to bury. And as that distant trail grows thicker against the sunrise, the question that hangs in the air isn't about money anymore. It's about courage. Do I open what the desert was hiding? Or do I bury myself along with it? Before you scroll away, pause for just a moment. You just walked beside Ethan Walker through humiliation, doubt, fear, and a choice most people spend their entire lives avoiding. You stood with Thunder, who never spoke, but never ran. And you felt the pressure of Richard Coleman, the voice of money, power, and silence trying to decide Ethan's fate. Now the story quietly turns the question toward you. If you were Ethan, would you have stayed? What is the land in your own life that everyone told you was worthless, but something inside you refuses to abandon? How many times have you walked away, not because you wanted to, but because fear told you it was safer? Take a breath and think honestly. Was there a moment in this story that tightened your chest? A line that felt uncomfortably personal? A decision that mirrored one you're avoiding right now? Tell us in the comments. Which moment hit you the hardest? Was it Ethan signing the contract? Thunder guarding the ground? Or the instant Ethan realized the real cost wasn't money, but courage? Your story matters here. Someone reading your comment might be standing at their own breaking point. If this story made you feel seen, understood, or challenged, subscribe to the channel. These stories aren't just entertainment. They're mirrors. Turn on notifications, because the next story might arrive exactly when you need it, just like this one did. And if you know someone who's quietly fighting fear, doubt, or a decision they're scared to make, share this video with them. Not to tell them what to do, but to remind them they're not alone. Because sometimes, the most powerful question isn't what did Ethan choose? It's this. What will you do when walking away is easier than staying?